646.
Area code 646, you're on the air with Brenda and Jen.
Brenda and Jen, hi, Brenda, I spoke to you last week, so I don't know if it's too quick to talk to you again.
No, you can talk to me as many times as you need.
Okay.
Jen and I jam every night, so we're always working.
Yeah.
So, all right, update us.
Had several issues in my life. I suppose the biggest one is probably the money issue.
Okay.
And we worked on it with the eyes and the ears, and I worked on it a bit by myself. The call that we were on last time, we were breaking up a little bit, so I feel like I might have missed a little bit here and there. I keep creating some pretty wild scenarios. I mean, nothing's the end of the world, but I'd really like to get through this and move on. Maybe if I give you a rough overview. I have a really big career change that I'm finally getting into slowly. My apartment is pretty cluttered, and I'm digging out of 15 years of clutter and dust and dirt. And right now my income is like a trickle, not meeting, my needs.
Okay.
And it's been going on for a long time.
Okay. Part of it is you're hooked into group consciousness. That still says that you have to be suppressed and depressed and to some degree about as far as the money goes. There's the frustration that you're going through is actually part of the waiting room situation before the unfoldment of your dream to come true. Because the waiting room is that, so if you ever gone to an emergency room and you sat in the waiting room waiting for your turn, and it seems like it's forever, there's stuff on TV that's not interesting, you got the person next to you that stinks, or you got some noise that's going on that irritates you.
You forgot to bring your book, you said, oh, I don't have my iPod, man, I gotta sit here and just, you've gotta take it all in.
Now, they said that you're doing really well of trying to keep yourself upbeat, but what's really getting your attention is how you had the lack. So the lack ends up getting your attention, and so as the universe is unfolding, trying to hand it to you, you can't see it because there's a lot of energy that's hooked into lack. So now it's also what it sounds like, so it's definitely in a hearing aspect. It says that you're muddled. The thinking gets muddled because it doesn't make sense. So I'm trying to remember, what I would end up telling you to do is that you have to heal out how your body is physically trained to go into the fight mode. So and the fight mode is actually what's supposed to pull you out of the fear state or the lack state, because it's supposed to drive you, push you, and force you to go take that action you need. Now that happens to be a bitch slap. You don't need to do that, but there's another part. Do you need to be motivated in a different way? And they say yes, but you can't get help. You can't help going to the fact that you have to fight. Now I have to figure out why. Why does she feel like she has to fight?
So I shouldn't go into the fight mode.
Well, this is
Sure.
well, this is so hard to explain. The old pattern of how we conquer the fear is to go into fight mode. The motivation of what gets you into the fight mode. Now, the thing is that you need that push, that motivation, but you actually are going through a strategy where you have to get frustrated. So you actually, before you can have what you want, you have to get really frustrated first. Then you have to get into anger, and then you got to go into pissed off mode, and then you got to go in and fine, I give up. And then somehow you create a situation where all of a sudden you surpassed, the problem that you had. Does that pattern sound familiar to you?
Yes and no. I have felt I've done that before, or have even gotten to the point of giving up maybe earlier on, where it's like, listen, I know I can't do anything about this. And when I have these things seem to turn around.
Okay.
Like divine, you take care of it. I can't. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so they're saying, okay, in the caudate nucleus, which is that part of your brain where it holds fear, the one thing that it does do is that it either going to be fear or joy. And they say that there's a part of you that feels like you lost joy. One of the things I teach in the empowerment through enlightenment is how you feel like you lost something. Now, it can be stolen, taken, I mean, well, however that energy feels like, it's like we know that something happened to your joy. Then you have to feel like you've got to fight to have your joy, or in this case, sometimes your rights back. The loss, the fight, the joy, okay? So you lost it, you have to fight for it, but realize that now that you have had time to move on from that first time you felt like you lost it, and they're saying the first time you felt like you lost joy, stolen, or whatever, was age 5, and you have joy now. You have it, but you can't see it because 1, there's a pattern. 2, there's a belief that there's a loss. It reminds me of the story. I can find a spiritual insight almost in anything. Now, I don't know if you happen to have watched these commercials, but it's this girl that has big boobs. She's sitting at the table, and she orders chips and a hamburger. Or chips would be French fries in that case. And she looks at the waitress. She goes, "Where's my chips?" And the waitress reaches down, pulls out the plate so she could see the chips. You know? And she goes, "Oh, there's my chips." And all I can tell you is, spiritually speaking, is that we have something that's blocking ourselves from the joy, so we can't see that joy, or in this case, our chips.
Right, so we were... She found this insight over the weekend when we went out to dinner the other night, as we were investigating something that was going on with me, that I can't see the abundance that's already there. She said, "Oh, this commercial applies." So now we are sharing this insight that we get in the way of ourselves.
Yes, we totally get in our own way. And in this case, the boobs represent how we nourish ourselves. So I'm glad you enjoyed that.
I have listened to the commercial. You did it great.
So so the chips, that seems to be your joy is lost, and then you're fighting with the waitress, "Give me my chips." Okay, so we're fighting to find our joy. But what's in the way is our own perception, our own views, the ways that we nourish ourselves, and you already have it. And the problem is that you feel that it's not about the fact that it feels like the lack of money. It actually feels like you feel like you're not doing anything.
So I feel like now all of a sudden I'm listening to people tell you that you're not doing it, and it may not be the people around you. Maybe it is that group consciousness.
Oh, that makes sense too.
That you're not doing it. Well, you're not, whatever, because you're maybe navigating a little, you're under the radar, maybe you're going counterculture, maybe you're doing things, solving
out of the ordinary,
and so that's, now this part makes sense, is that there was a lack of communication, or you don't want to hear the communication of people telling this story, that you're still a beginner at this transformation thing, and that you don't know what you're doing. This makes a lot more sense.
Okay.
If that's what's going on.
She picked up the cards, and that's what she just read. But what it is like people don't understand your rhythm and synchronicities to what you're doing. People thought, "Oh, if you got a store, why aren't you promoting it this way?" They had their ideas of how I was supposed to do it. And Spirit's saying, "Oh, no, this is just a part of who you are. It's supposed to be part of the transition. And then I need you to do this." And then I was teaching class for all these years, and then somebody kept saying, "Well, you need to do it this way, this way, this way. You're failing." And I'm thinking to myself, no, I'm doing it the way Spirit's telling me to. So they will sit there and tell me, people will tell me that I have to do it, I should do it. They see me as that I'm not doing anything. And in retrospect, I'm doing a lot of things. First, I'm honoring myself and letting things unfold the natural way. The bills, feeling like you have no money, there's a part of you we call the RTJP, which is that right temporal junction parietal lobe, which his job is to think what other people think. So without realizing it, you look at the situation, have no money, and you think there's nothing going on, and then a part of you feels like maybe you're failing, that you're not doing the right thing. Just understand it. You find those peaks of joy and train yourself. Now, I've also had people say, "Oh my God, I'm so tired of this healing journey. Don't tell me I'm on this healing journey. That's all there is." Well, this is
That's
the
called
leg.
life.
Yeah, but this is the leg of our journey that is about healing. And what we tell you is that, yes, the healing part is very important, but you also have to do that future part. The future part of you is to sit down and start witnessing when you have good stuff happening. It's like,
Yes.
and if you don't do that, then you can't open up to the flow that you already have it. And when you start to recognize you do already have it, then all of a sudden you get led to synchronicity-wise the next job, the next thing you're supposed to do. You know, so right now you're kind of, your boobs are in your way of seeing your chips. So those thoughts, those denigrating thoughts that say, oh, I have lack, is getting in the way of actually receiving, oh, wait a minute, if I look over to my left, I have this opportunity of a lifetime. I'm going to take it. Okay? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so what they want you to do is know that you already have it, and anytime you start to get into that, the old way of how you get frustrated and then angry and then do it, you can tap that. You can disrupt it. You don't have to have a phrase. You can just tap on all your meridian points with the meridian tapping tool just to disrupt those particular voices and the way that you have to train yourself. And once you start to disrupt that, then and you start to apply the witnessing of the little daily things, then all of a sudden you're going to train yourself to really see how abundant you are and the opportunities that you've been missing because of the fact that that old part of you is in the way. Okay?
Yeah, okay. That's good.
Okay, so go ahead.
Oh, can I ask you one other thing too?
Yeah, you can.
I mean, I don't want to take up too much time.
Oh, no, you're fine. God's got it arranged so that me and you can talk. There's nobody in queue, so we're meant to talk, dear.
Well, that's what happens every time I call you.
Yes, but that's just the way nature.
Abundance.
Yeah, see, there's your first abundance.
Yeah, so I could, okay. Also with relationships, there's someone I'm interested in. I don't want to start getting obsessive and crazy about this guy. I mean, I don't know that he is or isn't, you know, but he's really I think he's a wonderful person. How do I handle that properly?
How do you handle that properly? To communicate or to create the relationship?
Or to not go crazy.
Or not, yeah, which one? There's a lot of questions
All
there.
three. All three. I mean, I create a relationship. If that's how it's best, then he is interested, it's how it's best for him too.
The first thing you're doing is that you're lacking, again, it goes back. Like you have the lack of money, you have the lack of relationship. So there's a part of you that's being pushed into notice the feeling or the sensation that you don't have it. And that first sensation is what's going to actually propel the universe to keep giving you more of it, is knowing that you have the lack of it. And because of that, they want you to heal the lack. And that you're afraid to become too haughty. If you have too much abundance, then you're going to be going around going, what, took you so long to figure that out? Or I'm going to get really nasty with you. What, you don't figured it out? How dumb you are. You're afraid that you're going to become a nasty bitch.
To become one of the voices that's been condemning you.
Yes. And so you can't receive abundance if there's a part of you that says that that abundance or joy equals arrogance or haughtiness, that I'm going to be, oh, there it is. People are going to think I'm better than them. And that's your worst fear. Holy cow, dear.
You think? I'm not sure if it is, although I know before when I had a little bit of money and, gosh, I was writing and got to travel around the world and treated like a rock star. I mean, I did get a little full of myself. Not mean, but a little full of myself.
It's okay to love yourself, it's okay to enjoy it, and it's okay to express it, but you're afraid that if people think that you're expressing it too much, you're pointing out that they don't have anything. It's like we were taught that we can't be proud of the fact that we have greatness and that we want to share this and we want everybody else to have it too. You draw the people into you that go, oh, thanks for rubbing it in. You're drawing that people. There are people out there that are very proud that you have this. I'm one of them. When you start to witness, I know exactly what you're doing. You're helping yourself to realize that it's okay. I'm enough. And I can have this abundance because I am a good person. Okay? So there's a part of you that might be afraid that people are going to compare you and say, oh my God.
I keep seeing this story keeps going through my head. I don't know why. but it's being taught that when it's your birthday or whatever, and in school you're supposed to bring cupcakes or cookies to class.
You gotta share.
And you have to make sure that there's enough for everybody. And if one person gets left out, who's going to be the little squeaky wheel that says, you didn't bring enough cupcakes for everybody? And you're like, but I did! But I brought... And then it was like...
Oh, that's...
It's like Catholic school and a little bit of a dysfunctional family, so, yeah.
That's huge. Okay, so your part, when it comes to this relationship, you're afraid that if you start to express yourself, you won't have enough passion, just like you won't have enough cupcakes. Chips. You won't have enough cupcakes to be able to, so everybody will feel the passion, including yourself. So it's important that you withhold that passion, or you squash that passion in the relationship, so that you won't hurt anybody. You won't you won't have somebody pop up saying you didn't give enough. So in a way, you're almost afraid to have a relationship because of the fact you don't think you have enough passion to give.
Sometimes it's the other. I scare people with too much passion once they get into something, and too much emotion.
Correct, because there's a part of you that believes that you're supposed to squelch that. I was told not to be able to express myself. So when I do express myself, I attract somebody in to tell me, stop it.
Okay.
And they think I'm doing too much of it. Where I've talked to other people and they go, oh, you haven't given enough. You need to give more. So it depends on what point of view you're listening to. So always consider the source. Jen's been feeling something in her body. And so
I feel it's in the intestine. So I looked up small intestine, and that's an assimilation problem. They're having absorption difficulties and problems in separating the wheat from the chaff. They're having difficulties with analysis and with processing things. They're being hampered by distorted discrimination and disturbing distrust generated by a dysfunctional family's magical mystery tour pattern, and by their being subjected to systematic invalidation then and ever since.
Well, that makes sense because...
Sound right?
Does that make sense to you?
It does. Thank you, Beth.
Okay. Again, take and listen and re-listen to the archives, all the stuff that we talked about, watch the YouTube videos, and really use the healing tools section. There's a lot of things that you could do. Thought management, kick people out. Notice that the pattern that you have to have is because that's where you're supposed to have it. You got to learn to consider the source. And all these little things that come up, because you need to break those patterns. And the best one is the oh my God points. Just sticking your hand in your head going, oh my God! And because you really heal. There's a lot of juicy gems. Write it all down. I can't even recap and recall any to help that. Well, I appreciate you being on the show. Keep us informed like you always have, and it's always good to hear your voice, my dear.
I appreciate you, both of you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
dear.
for
Namaste.
calling.
And what we're going to do is we'll take the next caller, and then we'll take a break after that. So, who's the next person?
We have a Skype caller. You're on the air.
Hello.
I'm on the air. I'm
Yes,
in the
you
air.
are. And how can we help you?
Up in the air. Well, I'm sure there's something you can do, but I have a question
Okay.
for both of you. Well, that sounds like what I normally do, but I went to your beautiful new show page on Blog Talk, and I was looking for the website there, which I did find, with my magnifying glasses on. So the question is, and I'm sure you reserve the right whether you answer me or not, but you'll get the spirit of where I'm coming from. The typing was so small.
Okay, what
Even
happened?
my magnifying glass.
All right, we will...
I just wonder why.
Good. See, she says, wonder why. Well, there's a lot of transition that me and Jen are going through. I'm not sure why the font keeps shrinking back down to of that size. I go and I go to fix it, and it re-shrinks it down, and then it says I'm using too many fonts. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's your font. And so the way that she asked the question was, why is that happening? So Jen is transitioning to coming into my space, or getting onto my train that goes so fast.
Beep beep.
And what's occurring is that Jen has got to do releasing growth and all this, and she hasn't quite healed a particular thing in the past that can just have her jump on board with me. Explain, Jen, a little bit further in your words.
Yeah. So
If not, I'll always jump in, but...
Oh my gosh, this releasing, I think it's a new healing tool, and Brenda's been saying you need to release because of, okay, so went to school, became ordained, minister, that kind of thing. Have a group. I have a group in Lansing, and so it's about releasing, and it's not saying that I'm quitting. It's saying that I need to release my attachment, release my ideas, release this, and she keeps saying this, and it's okay. Well, now I actually have to go through that process, and for whatever and so over the weekend, I began looking at what I need to do as far as what I need to do on the website, what I need to do this, that,
for MWR,
for Medicine Women Reveal. And so last night we came up with a really big chunk of what is sitting in the way for myself as far as achieving, as far as getting on board and that kind of thing. So we're on the trail, you know, the getting to what needs the chunk.
her issue.
My issue.
So, you know, from the human perspective, she's holding you back? No. On the spiritual perspective, I understand what's going on, okay?
These are deep-seated core things as far as what was going on in my childhood. Why did I need to hide? Why did I need to protect myself? What was going on in my environment? And now it's time to shed some of that stuff and actually feel that there's safety, that there's security, that it's okay now to...
And Octarine in the chat room says it's another good week for releasing, so Jen, that's a good sign for you. But
yay!
What's happening is she's also looking at how she's motivated, and she was motivated by having a fire lit under her butt to make her move, which means she has to do it a certain way, and if she doesn't do it, then she's going to fail. So we really were looking at how, in order for her to be directed and do this next phase with MWR, it's based on all these fears, that she's afraid she's going to fail. Now, it's also created another thing, because as a medicine woman, I am taking and looking at how the relationships are really connected, and that's what we were going to talk about in tonight's show. So, you know, we may end up talking about it now. But the aspect of the relationship is we broadcast energies off of each other. Now, I know when my self-talk, it isn't me anymore. It is when it become my human self. When I become the programs. When I become that I have to act and be a certain way because that's what people expect. And so when I'm typing yesterday at my keyboard, and all of a sudden I'm like, really all of a sudden turning around going, noticing that she's not helping, noticing her faults, noticing, I'm like, what? Wait, these aren't mine, but I need to follow them. Okay, and the great fear that anybody has is they feel like they're going to fall off their wagon and go into a pit of hell. And I thought, but I knew, I just have to follow this trail, keep note. See, the more you heal with these healing tools, the more you become your true identity, and you don't have to identify with all of this pain and suffering. So finally, towards the end of the night, I went in, I said, okay, your barometer, I'm done being the barometer, but your barometer says today, were you having these thoughts? And if you were, these are the thoughts I was having. So do you expect people to treat you this way? And Jen was like, what?
Yep.
And literally it was, because it's when you take, scientifically, it's when you take these two wormholes, and when the two wormholes cross, then they start to slice what's in the middle. And that's what happens to the relationship. She's creating her reality over here, I'm creating my reality over here, and then when they start to merge together, she wants me to show up as a bitch, or the mother, or the sister, or anybody that would, which her program says, don't like me, I'm a bad person, you know, oh, you're going to be mad I breathed, you know, type thing. And so I'm over here going, that's not who I am, but yet it's supposed to. So her emanating energy between the entanglement cord between me and her, where I'm supposed to show up, is mad at her. And whatever feelings that she has, she's supposed to say, see, I told you so, I knew it, I knew you were thinking that, I knew you were acting that way, I knew it. and it is to keep the little girl safe inside. But these programs no longer need to be there. They're actually in her way of seeing her chips, in her way of seeing her what she already has, because she says, well, I don't have my freedom, I don't have my power, and I'm going, no, you literally do. You are in charge. You have all the freedom you need. You just don't know you have it. And so that's why when we go on to when you go to do certain things, say, like right now I can't even do certain things with MWR because it'll just start to fail. And I don't want to be hit by the jump rope. So I'll stand back and I'll say, what part do I need to do? For me, I get the unfoldment card. I'm supposed to just wait, unfold, learn, teach. She's supposed to discover, which means she has to go into the pit of the hell, live it out, all the ickiness, take notes, and then when she comes out of it, then she heals. So every night when we get done, she's like, oh my God, Brenda hates me all day long. By the end of the night, it's like my door's open. Okay, ready for our jam session? Oh my God, yes. We become best friends all of a sudden again. And but if we didn't understand what was going on, chances are she probably wouldn't be living here. We wouldn't be friends because all of these over-identities get in the way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And
it makes a lot of sense to me, and it's even more, it was like imperative. Now, I've noticed that before, but it didn't hit me today. It was imperative that I spoke on it today.
yeah.
And that you all are in the midst of this is very enchanting to me in that I received the vibration, and that I also wanted to say that, to add that maybe there can be different teepees in the Medicine Woman Reveal, which might allow both of you, feel freer to be who you are in the midst of the village.
Oh, Medicine Woman Teepee. I had to follow along. I got lost. That's a sign. That's a sign.
So in our camp is what she's saying.
Right.
The Medicine
Yeah.
Women camp, that there's these individual
teepees.
teepees.
Yes.
Yes, where
So have you been channeling Ra? Have you been able to channel Ra? Because Ra, or even channeling, because they said that there's a part of you that needs to begin to channel something, because literally as you're talking to us, you can feel it, you're translating it in your language, but they said there's more ways that you can bring that energy through, that it'll actually emanate so people can hear it all the way. So it's funny how I couldn't hear it, but Jen heard it. So what they're saying is they want you to embrace that frequency of where you're getting information, and allow yourself to be a little bit more vulnerable without fear that it's going to hurt, and just start learning to release a little bit more, and to allow yourself to reach for that energy, bring it in, because when you do, you're going to be able to process it differently. Because right now it feels like Ra's energy is right on my face. It feels like it's melting to some degree. It's not hurting me, but it's like I have to shove it in her face. Even though you hear it, you can translate it. It's just that the energy is not able to emanate from you completely to all of the allotted of people that you're supposed to communicate with. Does this make sense?
I love it. I love it. You know, and you refer to Ra as male, and when the first time, well, maybe not the first time, one of the times you really emphasized that, you said, and I just like a little more elaboration on that. But Jen, you're the one that triggered me to say the tent, the teepee.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that you felt it makes a lot of sense, because you need that. You require that now, so that you have your own home space within the village, within the camp.
Good sign.
Cool.
Good sign.
Yeah,
Definitely.
because up until now, it's been that I'm hiding, and I do a really awesome job of hiding in plain sight. I'm here, people, and it's funny because some of my lifelong friends are look at me like, what are you talking about? You're one of the more spontaneous, you're always full of life, you're out there, you're doing things. And yeah, at the same time, but do you know everything about me? Do you know that I can do this? Do you know that I have this ability? Do you know I have this talent? No, because I have found an amazing way to hide in plain sight. Because if I tell the world, if I tell people that this is who I am, this is what I can do, it's gonna, my fear and what I've known as my reality is that it's gonna be taken. Somebody's gonna come along and say, "Oh, thanks for having that, mine," and take it and walk off with it. And so I'm sitting there going, WTF, why even bother having it if it's just out there for people to take?
Yes, that makes sense.
So
Wow.
We're really digging
Wow.
in deep in what relationships, energies, and not only knowing who we are, but knowing what happens when we emanate those thoughts from ourselves, and it can create or destroy a relationship. I have to keep reminding people from time to time, I am not your average female. I am not your average woman. I am not your average human. Because I have healed so much that I actually can see the greater good of what's happening. And it helps me look and not have to fall victim to their insecurities. I had somebody else say something about their insecurities, and they're like, oh my God, you probably told people bad stuff about me. And I'm like, first of all, why would I do that? But it's there, your denigration, your self-talk, your fear, the insecurity pops up, and we think, and we then have to protect ourselves. It's all about that safety level. Do you know what I mean?
I do. You're telling me about Ra. Stepping into that.
Yeah.
It's being willing to step forward and be that divine and be willing to, the trees shedding their leaves right now. That's part of it.
Yes.
And let go of stuff.
Yeah.
But you're going to get more next year.
yeah,
Exactly.
The ones you had are going into your roots and nourishing you. Because that was
Exactly.
their purpose for you.
So now,
That you can stand tall, be that tall tree, and know that you're rooted into your divinity and all that you have acquired that is of benefit to you. And what isn't you going to let it go, like the leaves falling from the tree?
yeah, there's a saying that the tree doesn't sit there in autumn and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm losing all my leaves. Oh, I gotta hold on to my leaves. Oh, I gotta hold on to that one." No, it's like, okay, I get it.
it's changing its underwear. It knows it don't need that one
No,
anymore.
I'm gonna fall off and
Yeah.
put
And
that.
I've watched you grow, both of you.
Thanks.
Both of you. It's been my pleasure
Oh, it's
to
fun.
experience you and to watch you grow.
Excellent.
But again, Jen, I've watched you grow. I've watched you coming out of your shell.
She's definitely.
And whatever it is, I just said what I had to say.
Okay, I have one more thing to say, sweetie, and this is, I asked, is there a heart wall that's actually stopping you from being able to truly allow that wonderful energy to flow through you? And they said, yes, there is. This particular heart wall came into place about 2 years old, and in many generations back, so that means it is within the lineage of your bloodline, that you are to long for it. Long for your freedom, long for your rights, long for this, long for that. And it's the longing that says that you can't have it yet. And the energy of Ra says that's not true. You already, because you were one of the main students. Because when you I know what Ra I'm talking about. Read the Emerald Tablet. It's a free book online. You can find it anywhere. You can even buy it. I think it still exists. But the Emerald Tablets. And when you read it, you'll understand what I'm referring to, because there was the stage of our declining, the involution, that power to, when we had to come down farther from that energy, from the great source, that we had to, Ra had to go into hiding, because the teachings they weren't going to be helpful anymore. They were actually going to be seen as the enemy instead of the source of great help and love, it was then seen as the enemy. So that part had to all go hidden underground. Okay? It's now coming back to the surface, and now it's calling its peeps to help bring and anchor that frequency into this space so that the great awakening or the conscious shift will actually occur. Okay? So you were supposed to know all about longing. And now you don't need to know it. Yeah, it may existed, but it's not supposed to be a part of who you are. So it's like there's something that was lost. You learned to long for it. Now you have to be ready to say, I already have it. So to heal this out, and this heart wall, energetic-wise, Jen can do the healing right now. And she's going to do the healing on herself, send the energy to you. You just open to receive it. It's to help take and clear out the electromagnetic energy of longing out of the genetic line, or I should say, at least out of your line. Now, are you familiar with longing for something?
Yeah, I recall quite a few longings.
Okay, now it's time for you to put all that on the scale from 0 to 10. If you have to do a bunch of them individually, then do so. But the longing needs to be over. So Jen, you need at least roll a couple more times. And you need to do, and if you wanted to do hope therapy, you would hold R3D. And notice how you have to long for your dream. Long for feeling again. Long to have rights. Long to just be there. Now, you can't use the consciousness. Good. You can't use the consciousness because the consciousness will propel you into this moment of time and not let you see those roots that need to be healed. But since you have the familiarity, you know it, then focus on it, and then hold R3D and then heal it out. Okay?
Right.
Because once that starts to be gone, and anytime it rears its ugly head, you go back, for you, would be to R3D and get it gone, because you are not supposed to be, see, when we look at human beings, we have to label so we can identify. The color of your skin doesn't matter, because your skin is this beautiful pearl essence of the idea of what spirit is. So, you have to let that history, it's not that you're abandoning you or your country, your culture, your people, or whatever. You are actually taking and healing and pulling. Once you heal, you're going to help heal those parts of you, and you'll be able to pull them into the new consciousness. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what is the thing is that you no longer have to identify and fight for the rights for your people, or for this, or for this, or for that. You literally already know you won. It's like the day I became medicine woman was the day that my soul says, finally, justice! And I said, seriously? Wow. Okay, so I totally identify with being with my rights as a medicine woman or as an Indian, that what history said took place, and that I was supposed to feel all of this resentment, pain, and anger that went with it. And the stopping and the obstacles. And when I became medicine woman, like all of that washed away. And it was like, whoa. So that is what part of the healing you need to do, is that you're done longing, because you already have.
I can relate. I can relate. I still, if you can address the energy of the raw and the feminine, but to both of you, my sisters, the word Ma'at, M-A-A-T,
Yes.
is the goddess, the interest of the truth.
Okay.
And that the truth that you two shared today, not only today, but so many times, but the truth that you two revealed, you two medicine women revealed today, is awesome.
Okay, as far as Ra goes, they want you to understand that the male energy is the energy that was on this planet for eons was a force of the male, the yang energy that said I had to be powerful, in control, and dominate. Ra, in essence, is both that male and female that says that you don't have to have, it's like reclaiming the name. Like somebody says, well, I'm going to reclaim what it means to be you know, like queer, like the word queer, the people said it was a bad thing.
Yes.
And it's like, no, I'm reclaiming it. I'm taking off the bad. I'm going to teach people that it's not bad. Reclaiming the word gay, reclaiming the word bitch. And the thing is that we have to be done. So we're reclaiming that energy of a man, that it doesn't have to be dominating. That was what the energy was supposed to be, because of that you can use that with the yang. But yang does not have to have all of that bad connotation. You're supposed to emanate both, as far as that energy of bringing that through. And you're going to give a new face, a new voice. It's like when Ramtha is channeling through Jay-Z Knight. The reason he chose as a woman was because it is not about the dominancy of a penis or a vagina. It is the balancing of how those energies is stop being, you know, used as genders, but as the two polarities that are supposed to work together. And that is what you're supposed to do, is help bring in the unity and heal the connotations and re-bring that information. And the reason I say re-bring is because we are remembering who we are, and that information was already beautifully present and balanced. It's when we got thrown off center and we couldn't process and we became domesticated as humans that caused us to forget our instinctual nature and to go into this dominancy, pimp and prostitute dynamics of this world. So you are reclaiming that unity, and you need to heal any connotations from any direction, from male or female. And we don't have to fight for the rights, because we already have them. But you need to, just whatever it is, to channel that beautiful flow. Okay?
Yes.
Because it's already there, but now to let it through. So heal the longing so you can. All right?
Yes.
It's always.
I thank you. Sally, you going to do something for me?
She had already did, as far as
Okay.
the magnetic. Now just sit there and lay there, or however you want to do it, and receive that energy. It's already been, it's sitting there. So now just bring it through and feel the releasement, releasing the longing, and just say, I release it. I give myself permission to let it go. And it's like saying to a person, I release you. You can run now. You can do whatever you want. And that person runs. And so literally when you release it, you can actually literally see it leaving. So just get into that space after you're done talking to us and listening to the show, and just grow. And once you release that, then just reclaim your divinity and allow that frequency to flow through. Okay?
So it is. I thank you, as always, with much love, my sister.
Oh, namaste, my
thank
dear.
you.
And it's always a pleasure to always look at your Facebook wall, because you are a beautiful woman. All right. We will go ahead and take a break. You know, when people call in, some people feel like, oh my God, I've just taken up all your time. Well, sometimes the board gets cleared by spirit, so that whatever information is supposed to be present will really be focused on. It's they actually can rearrange things for all of this to happen. So what's important to understand is relationships are not what they seem to be. And that's what we're going to end up talking about tonight, is about those relationships. How? I don't know, because I can't ever write these things. I just know that Spirit's going to talk about it. Now, at the last minute, Spirit also has the right to change its mind. I have gone in with things that I was going to talk about, and that's just thrown out the window, and something else has to show up. And to me, oh, okay, I've learned how to transition and accept that. But some people expect, oh, they're going to do about this, so now I'm going to have to tune in tonight because I really want that. And then if you don't get it, you can have great disappointments. So what happens, you learn to live in expectancy, knowing that something is going to happen. Yes, Jen?
Heal that expectation on relationships of what you might hear on our shows.
That is true. Now, apparently Kimberly likes teasing, because Jen just gets a crack out of it, just cracks up over it. Okay, so what we're going to do is, Thanksgiving is coming up, and everybody says, oh, we've missed Thanksgiving and went to Christmas. But it's our responsibility to remember that, to put it out there. Like, I have, since the beginning of this month, been putting up Thanksgiving turkey, funny stuff, because that's what I want people to understand, is that we can joke, we can laugh, and be thankful at the same time. And when we allow ourselves, see, I'm such a ninja, you don't even see me on there. Brenda Bates, Soul Coach, I'm such a ninja, I'm so good at it. You don't see me. Just kidding. In the chat room. So Jen, I'm going to have you draw a card, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but here we go.
And then draw a card.
Yeah, take your pen and paper down, literally use your fingers to draw a card. That balancing act that we have a hard time doing sometimes
I'm
is...
such a ninja, I didn't even know I responded.
That's true. You could just have died. Now you're just a die. So Jen, I'm going to have you tell us about how have you been able to balance yourself while you knew that spirit was throwing you in the pit of hell. And the pit of hell is her belief systems, her limited decisions, her self-talk, her denigrations, and all of these things. And it's been hard to have a balancing act. If you weren't living with me, would you be able to recover as fast as you have?
No, and that whole Mercury retrograde
That's so absurd.
by a dictionary. Okay. Mercury retrograde. I just, oh my gosh, by Friday, Saturday, this past weekend, I know I told you I felt completely wrung out emotionally from that roller coaster. And that was even with using healing tools. Not every day, but I was using some.
See, now we have to explain. She goes, but I'm not used it every day. And sometimes you can't because you're not supposed to. You have to sometimes get so real with the sensations, the feelings, and how you know it. And most people can tell you every day how they know it, but they don't understand how they know that part and that they can heal that knowing. So your weekend of trying to have a balancing act was quite interesting.
and then I thought, oh, well, I'm not using a healing tool in my waking life during this week. Maybe I'll ask for the angels. Thank you, God, for helping me heal while I'm sleeping. Yes, healing while you're sleeping is equivalent to a very active dream life. Waking up thinking, oh my God, I didn't even get any sleep. I'm emotionally wrung out during the day. Oh my God, I gotta be up and walking around all these people, and then, oh, I'm gonna go to sleep and be all rested. Oh wait, I asked to help heal. Okay, so it's been...
Now, when you are asking on a very deep level of, I'm ready to really do a lot of healing in my sleep. Now, there's several things that can occur. If you don't say, my healing, then you can be drifted and taken and going on anywhere on the planet to do healing. And you can come back exhausted because you because you literally were working. As far as healing your issues, even if you weren't healing and you wanted to learn how to do dream interpretations more advanced, then you ask for it. And so when they start to fine-tune you, you can have really good, up to 7 levels or more of intense dreaming, where as soon as you finish one, they wake you up and you're supposed to participate and write it down.
Supposed to participate.
That's
fine
the clue.
print.
Yes, the fine print. And so then you go back to sleep, and knowing that this is going to happen, you then have to adjust. It's like being in a fasting stage. You're going to have to understand that you don't have to program yourself and say, oh my God, I didn't get enough sleep. You will know that you probably didn't get enough sleep because you went such in a deep state, but yet highly alert to be able to write it down. You haven't learned how to bridge the two yet. And because you haven't learned how to bridge those two, it'll feel like, oh my God, hell. It's like when you start to lift 200 pounds of weight and all you can really lift is 10 pounds, it's going to be hell.
2 pounds, baby. 2 pounds.
So the balancing act is knowing that you have to start out with those baby steps, work up that muscle strength to get to where you're going. And Jen has done enough healing now that she knows her identity, but sometimes she slips and falls off the wagon and knows that she really is in her hells of life, and she just, I know that I'm her anchor. I know that it's like, all right, let's go. And I can watch those floating thoughts that go by, and you want those thoughts to float by, but when they become like the Pirates of the Caribbean, where they're shooting frickin' cannons at you out of the 41 thoughts.
Oh,
those
let's drop
thoughts,
anchor.
and they're going to annoy the rest of your life. You can
Right,
focus
I
on...
really, that ship would have looked really nice just floating along the horizon.
Nope, it stopped, took anchor, and started throwing cannonballs at you, what you're doing right now. And all it's doing is trying to get your attention. And it's time to lay to rest or give life to that particular pirates, that particular of who's sailing the ship, who's running and steering your ship. And you think that you are?
I'm just stuck on the poop deck.
Swab it, baby. Oh boy.
Anyway.
So, did you all like our stories about the spiritual insights with the chips? And hopefully you actually seen the commercial. We may have to actually put that up and put the spiritual insight up on our wall. I don't know.
Right.
But the balancing act. So now I'm going to have Jen read this because this is meant for her. And and she got the reverse card. So we're going to find out a little bit more.
This is a time when it's important to address the areas of your life where there is discord.
Airs or areas?
Areas.
Ah, so areas.
Like 51. Are you fixated on getting your own way? No.
Okay, really, Jen?
Shut up. Are you obsessed with one thing, neglecting essential matters that require your attention? I heard that. Keep floating. Make that ship go by. Okay, it's going by. Take your own inventory. Taking your own inventory, I'm going to take that inventory, as a necessary step toward rebalancing your life. And it's the only way to reach an equitable solution. Adjust yourself to the conditions of your environment that you have no control over, and balance will come much more easily. If there is to be fairness, it must come from you. Oh, I'm part of the equation.
Yes. Yes. So how much did you not want to participate with your own life this weekend?
Wait for it.
So when you are in what we call the flow of your hells, it is knowing intentionally.
You keep on going so the devil doesn't know you're there.
All right, plain sight.
Keep on roller skating.
It is when you are so over-identified with that emotions, you become of the world. The world is the one that's shifting. It reminds me of when, again, we're going back to the Pirates of the Caribbean, or whatever you call it. But anyways, the father and all those men, they're on that ship that started to look like barnacles and
Davy Jones.
Yeah, the Davy Jones locker is, you become so part of it. It's your thoughts, it's your feelings. It's like you feel trapped. It's written in stone. There's no way out. It's like your death sentence. It is forever stuck into this space. And it is going to end up changing who you are, and you become that true identity. Now, that isn't your true identity. That's your false identity, pretending that it is your truth, and this is the way you're supposed to be. When you're in that human mindset and you see left and right, and you divide right and wrong and good and bad, it ends up causing you to do a specific thing. It causes you to become of the world. It becomes that identity. And you then start fighting with your conscience, okay, that's conscience, that says, I have to choose right and wrong. I have to divide it up because you have to have that form of sanity, safety, and security. And so then you don't really mean to believe everything you think, but you can't help yourself. It really has a hold on you, and those chemical peptides can go nuts. Okay? So it's important to understand that when you're going through your hells, that there is always that light. And some people, I have told them, just imagine that you have that light in your hand, and it'll be released the moment that you are, it'll be released as your guiding light to get out of the situation. So no matter where you are, that light will seek you out, and you will see the light to come out of your hells.
And it's not a train coming down the track.
No, or you're not coming out of the birth canal either. Oh, but you could be. That's another spiritual scenario. You could be reborn out of that.
Fascinating. Did you know?
That is. All right. Now, for you all, that has to do, like I said, to be thankful for it. What it would be stopping you, and this is going to be the collective of the people that are listening, that what is it that we need to address? in order so that we can have more thanks or to receive more thanks in our space. And it is the mountain. So the mountain is number 6, and I'm going to have Jen read. It is, well, the first phrase is you have the capacity to flow around any obstacle. This is a time to adapt. Well, apparently I'm supposed to read it. As far as adapt, yes, but to conform, no. It's great that you're able to take and notice that you had a plan about how it's going to be executed, and you start to follow it, and an obstacle falls in the way. The knowledge you can have is knowing that you can go around it, under it, through it, make it disappear, move the mountain, whatever you need to do, instead of feeling like you're stuck and you can't do anything with it. If the emotion is there, get rid of it. Okay? So you are adapting by knowing there's another route, learning your ability to strategize and to come up with a solution. So you are already able to do this resolution, it's just that we sometimes forget about it. Sometimes you will come across that what appears to be an insurmountable obstacle, like a huge mountain that separates you from your success. And how you know it is because it's the marker that's placed inside of you, and you believe that story, and you need to heal that out. You might think that climbing it or chiseling away at it is the answer, but why take such a treacherous, tedious approach? Be like the rivers that flow around mountains naturally. You'll move past this obstacle relatively quickly if you choose the easy way around. This is the time to adapt to your circumstances. If you do decide to climb, remember to take one step at a time, opting for the next right action. When you are doing this, just understand there is already an energy flow that has already resolved it. You can say, thank you, angels, for helping me rearrange, myself to get onto this path, this flow of knowing that I can get around it. Learning to live in synchronicity, to be able to make it and do it with grace and ease. Any thoughts, Jen?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Apparently you're having fun with the chat room.
Yes.
We thank everybody in the chat room for such a wonderful thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to, just the last words of wisdom would be to just remember that you don't have to believe your own feelings and your own sensations. They are telling a story.
You may be like that antenna that is really just picking up other people's broadcast signals.
That's what I did this weekend.
And just start getting into that space where you can heal. You can ask the angels to help cut those energy cords that are doing that so that you can start reclaiming your energy.
Like I said earlier, there was a part of me that understood what I heard and knew it wasn't me, so I was writing down, taking the gems, writing it through this particular feelings that would have controlled me, been angry, and caused a fight. But I didn't want to lose a relationship, and I didn't have to hold myself back. I just had to pay attention.
60 seconds.
So we want to thank you for everything that you have done. Stay tuned. Hopefully you'll come and join us tonight on Sepia NC. And then we have Wednesday's show, and hopefully a Friday. It might not be live. I don't know. We'll see you later. Namaste.
Take care.